Okay, welcome back. We're looking at rational equations with fractions. So this is part 6, page 77. So we have this problem with our denominator here. So we have this quadratic here. So that's why we went over factoring. We kind of want to factor out the n. So I kind of look at that, let's say n squared minus 8n. My GCF here would be n. And I'll be left with n minus 8. And that's my LCM, my least common multiple. So now remember, we want to multiply each of these terms by the LCM. Make sure you can see that. Okay. That's better. Okay. So multiply each one of these by the LCM. But before I do that, I want to put this in factored form. So put over 10 over n plus 1 over n times the quantity n minus 8, because that's our LCM, equals 7 over our LCM, which is n minus 8. Now I can multiply each one by the least common multiple, because I factor out the n. So multiply each one by the LCM, which is n minus 8. Multiply this by n minus 8. Multiply this by the same thing, which is n minus 8. So now this is just about simplifying here. So I simplify the n's here, and I'm left with 10 times quantity n minus 8. Here's this simplifies nicely, n and n minus 8 and n minus 8. You can just kind of get rid of those because they simplify, create ones. And here, oh, same thing. The n's simplify, and the n minus 1, 8, and then n minus 8 simplify. And you're just left with 7. At this point, it's a really easy equation. So you distribute. So that's going to give you 10n, and 10 times 8, negative 8 gives you negative 80 plus 1. Combine like terms, it gives you negative 79 equals 7. Okay. Additive inverse. So 10n is equal to 86. Divide both sides by 10. And n would equal, was that 86 over 10? I think 2 goes in both those. So it'll be, n is equal to 43 over 5. Okay. So now, this is where we want to check for extraneous solutions, right? So it's really important that you did radical equations and did pretty well on the quiz. This posted on Schoology. So in terms of extraneous solutions, let's use a dark color. Check for extraneous solutions. So to do that, all we have to do is look at the denominator. So I usually like to look at the LCM. That's probably the easiest thing to look at. So you go n and n minus 8. We don't want the denominator to equal 0. Obviously, because you have anything divided by 0, it makes it undefined. So you don't want it divided by 0. So anything divided by 0, you don't want that. Okay. So now let's see. So we don't want it equal to 0. So we got to kind of break these two apart. So I'm going to say n is not equal to 0. And n minus 8, and we also don't want that equal to 0. And we just take the additive inverse. So n would be 8. Oh, that's our extraneous solution. So we don't want these to be extraneous solutions. So remember when we graphed these, it created holes in your graphs. Okay. All right. So so n is 43 divided by 5, but it can't be 0 or 8. Okay, you'll make this undefined. Okay, let's look at another example. That would be on the back. Switch it over. Okay, so first thing I want to do is my LCM, and this one's kind of a little bit complicated. They get kind of long as we progress through these. So make sure you can see this page 77. right, so I want my LCM here. So my LCM will be, what's that? Here I want to factor out a P. So my LCM would be, if I factor out P, I'm left with P plus 2. Okay, so there's my LCM. And I'm just going to kind of rewrite this. Let's say 9, and I'm going to write my LCM. So it'll be P times the quantity P plus 2 is equal to 7 divided by the same thing, or divided by the same thing here, which is P plus 2. This one I factor out a P, so I'm left with P times quantity P plus 2 of 1. So this is where you multiply each term by the LCM. Your LCM is just, P plus 2. So I'm just multiplying each term by the LCM. Be P plus 2 and P plus 2. So this is where you simplify. They should divide up nicely here. So let's see what we got. Oh, this divides nicely. P divided by P gives you 1. P plus 2 plus 2 gives you 1. So you're just left with 9. So you got to be careful here. So the P plus 2 and the P plus 2 simplify here. They actually create a 1. Then you're just left with 7P. And then here, oh, this whole thing you can just divide that, because you got P times the quantity P plus 2 divided by P times the quantity P plus 2. It just literally gives you a 1, and you're just left with this 1 right here, which is 1. And at this point, it's a really easy equation. So we can solve for that by doing additive inverse. So that gives you 7P is equal to 8. And just divide both sides by 7. And then P would equal 8/7. Remember, we got to check for extraneous solutions. So remember, we want to look at our LCM. So here's our LCM. And extraneous solutions. So extraneous solutions, let's look at our LCM, which is P plus 2 is equal to 0. Oh, we don't want to equal to 0. So now we break these apart and set P is not equal to 0 here. And we can say P plus 2 is not equal to 0 here. Do the additive inverse, so P would not be equal to -2 or 0. Only answer we can get for P would be 8/7. Okay, we're going to be looking at next, that'll be part 7. So if you want to try the problems on your own first before I do them, this will be the last part, thank goodness. So part 7, first problem will be this, and the next problem will be this. I'm sorry the last time it went kind of quick. That's because I ran out of storage, so I had to delete some files. All right, try it. I'll see you in the next video.